Hey everyone, and welcome back to Silverrun Forest for the next episode in this series. Hope you're all doing well. So at the end of the last episode we ploughed in this field and then we went and sold a few of pallets of staircase railings from the wood turner. So we delivered our first 4 pallets to the roller coaster for that. So the first job for today is to finish off this field. So first we need to get some lime spread on it. Then we can sow it with barley and then we'll go over with those set of rollers to remove these small stones. So first we need to go and buy the spreader. But what I am going to do is we're going to sell this trailer because I've installed the 50-foot gooseneck one from 82 Studios, which does have various options to go from 20, 30, 40 and 50 foot. So we'll get rid of this one. We do lose a little bit of money. I will actually repaint it because usually we get a little bit more back. So we'll solve that one. Yeah, we'll buy another one in a bit when we need it, but first we need to get the lime done. So I've just had a quick look through. There's nothing of interest in the used equipment currently. So if we go fertilizer spreaders, I'm going to go with the 6-ton fertilizer spreader from 82 Studios. We're going to probably just leave it as is. I may change the colours though. I'll put the lizard farming on just so it doesn't look so plain. I'll go with cover. Spreader system will keep as it's an extra 10,000 for the wider spread. Frame will, as we're using it with our John Deere, we'll go John Deere green. Change the cover to John Deere yellow. We'll keep the rest of it as it is. We could go for the extension, 9,000 litres, which is extra 1,000, but I don't think we need it at the moment. We can always add that on if the 6,000 litres is not quite enough. So we'll also buy a few bags of lime. So we need 3 of these for the 6,000 litres, and then we'll, nope, don't want to buy any more. We'll also get a bag of seeds and then 1 bag of fertilizer, which should be enough to do the field we've got. It's not exactly the biggest field. So we've got a spreader, some lime seed and fertilizer. We will also need a set of rollers as well. We can get those when we need them. Let's say first job will be to get the lime spread and then get the barley sown. And then once we've got that done, we can then go over it with the rollers. And then that'll be the field done for this year. We will need to do some further fertilizing on it, but we can do that in the spring. We'll just get these other 2 lime in and then we'll go and get the lime spread. Okay, so that's the lime done. I think there's one tiny little bit I missed down there, which I'll go and do. So yeah, the next job is to get the seeder filled up with seed and fertilizer, and then we get our barley sown. So we'll drop the spreader off down here. So one of the jobs over this coming winter will be to try and get a shed where we can start storing all this equipment out the way and tidy things up a little bit. As we are getting quite a lot of stuff down here. It is getting a little bit messy. So we'll soon try and get that sorted out over winter. So I'll switch that to barley just so we get the right crop. Now we could do either wheat or barley, but I think I much prefer doing barley for animal feed. So we can get a little chicken coop. once it's ready, we can do a little bit of egg production. Okay then, so let's get our barley sown and our first crop in the ground on Silverrun Forest. So last little bit of barley to do, just this tiny spot, and that's this field done. So there's our first crop sown here on Silverrun Forest. So again, we'll just drop off this seed drill. So the next job will be to get it rolled to get rid of these small stones mainly, but it will also give us that extra 2.5% yield bonus on there as well. So we've currently yield bonus plus 65% currently. We've got 2 layers of fertilizers to go on because we've only got the 33%, and then if we roll it, that should give us 67. 2 layers of fertilizers should take us up to about 97. So I think that's the best we're going to get for this harvest, and then we can mulch the field with the batwing mower that we bought last time before we sow it again with the next crop. So we need rollers. The one we're going to go with is the Dalbo Hydroflex 5.2 by Hydraulic. So this is off the in-game mod hub. We'll keep it standard colours. It's only $3,100, so nice and cheap. The only problem I've found with this set of rollers is it attaches to the lower section of the 3-pointer. I don't know if it's just this tractor, but it is quite low and it doesn't pull it very well. As you can see, it doesn't quite lift those off the ground, so I have to, with this particular tractor, I have to pull it unfolded, otherwise it just drags the low sections of the front rollers into the ground. So we'll get this dropped down. Now this is one of those jobs where it's difficult to see the change in texture. We should see the stones disappear. And also probably not the most exciting job to watch either. So I'll go over this, we'll get all these stones removed and finish rolling the rest of the field as well. And I said we'll leave it till spring, and then we'll come back and get the next 2 layers of fertilizer applied so we can get the full yield, well, as much of the full yield as we can. So it'll be minus the mulching. Okay, so last little bit of rolling to do, and that's that job all done. And whilst we was doing that, we've just had a great demand pop up for containers, or the container warehouse, so for wood at the container warehouse. So I think it would be a good opportunity to try and take advantage of that, as the price is up to just over 2,500 per 1,000 litres of wood, which is quite a good price compared to everywhere else currently on the map. But I definitely think it'll be worth us trying to get a few more container loads up to the container warehouse and sold. So we'll just finish off this last little bit of rolling, and that should be all done. We'll just double check we haven't missed any stones. No, that's all nice and blue. So that's the first layer of fertilizer, so we'll need to add 2 further applications of fertilizer to get the full application of fertilizer on there. So we'll get this folded up. I want to try and drop this off next to the plough. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll go and buy the new trailer, and what I want to do is, we did 9 meters last time, which wasn't too bad, but I think this trailer we should be able to fit. I was considering doing 12 meters, but I think looking at the trees, there's not many trees where we're going to get more than one 12-meter length out of it. There's a few that will get multiples, but we're going to be left with a lot of shorter offcuts that we can't then put in the container. So I think to get the maximum amount that we can cut at the right length to fit in containers, we'll be better off going with 6-meter lengths. So if we just go to low loaders, so that's the one we had last time, it's the 20-foot gooseneck trailer. So this is also from 82 Studio, and this is the 50-nut gooseneck transport trailer. This one's got a lot more options on. It's also got auto load bales and a few other things. So attach type we'll keep bumper pull for now because we can't pull the gooseneck. Length we'll go with the 40-foot, but we'll also add the tail. We'll add the ramps on so we can also use it to load up the skid steer if need be. But I will also put the 3 wheels on the rear, so spread the weight out over a few more axles, or an extra axle I should say. I don't think there's anything else. The other option we've got on this one that we didn't have on the other is for extras. So on this one we can go with side rails, log poles which fold up, so then we can use it as a logging deck. And there's also extensions that come out on the sides to widen the deck. At the moment we'll keep it as standard, but possibly add the log poles if we need it. So if we do get some offcuts, we can load them up there. But we still also have the other 2 logging trailers. So it's 9,500 for that, so not a lot more than we paid for the previous one. And we'll also get 2 6-meter 20-foot containers. So hopefully we should be able to fit both on. And we'll see if we can fit both on. We'll just use the hand of God for this, because last time I tried it, obviously the forks glitched out. Really didn't like picking up. The weight of this empty I don't think is a problem for the tractor. I think it was more, for some reason the forks just did not want to pick up. They are quite short, these forks. They are stubby little forks. So if we put this one on the other way around, I don't think we'll be able to open the doors on the other one. Let's just try it. Maybe push the container forward. We could always push that back to the head of the trailer. Then we'll push this one right back up to that one. And we'll get these strapped down. I don't know if we have to close the doors once it's loaded, but might be able to just leave them open. Right, so we'll get this over to the forestry area. And we can start getting some more logs cut down to 6-meter lengths. So if you wanted to, you could fit the 40-foot on there quite comfortably as well. But I just think we're going to end up with a lot of offcuts of logs that are less than 9 meters, 12 meters. So for a lot of the trees we'll cut, probably 50% of the tree will go to like offcut that we then can't load in the container. So I think doing 6 meters is going to probably be the best. In terms of the amount of 6-meter lengths we can get from each tree. So we should be able to at least get 2 6 meters from each one. And I think some of these trees we may even not have got a 12-meter out of. So we'll park that there and we'll go and jump in the tree harvester. So I have marked quite a few of these trees. I went round with the spray paint and I've marked quite a few for cutting. I don't think I did many over this side though. But as the tree harvester is here, let's take it over to her because I think there's a little bit of a clearing. Yeah, it's a bit more open here, so if we drop the logs in this bit, it'll be a bit easier to see. So if we check the length and we'll set it to 6 meters. I'll get rid of this small one first, so turn that on. So we've got a fairly clear area here. There's a few bushes on the ground, but it should be nice and easy to see where we're dropping the logs. And I'll start cutting back this way and dragging them up here. So we'll start cutting back to where we were earlier and towards our field. So let's see if we can make a reasonable pile of 6 meters. I do find it a little bit more difficult to sort the lengths out with this than using the FDR logging stuff I usually use. Because we've got the fixed head on there, it doesn't swing about all over the place. So I don't think the next one is going to be 6 meters, so we'll try and keep those separate. And try and stack them up as best as I can into a nice pile. We'll probably only get the 1 6 meter out of this one. It's a shame we couldn't just cut it straight into the container like I tried last time, but yeah, it didn't quite work out. And this is one of the trouble as well, trying to separate them. You're risking dragging that log over that pile and sending you a nice, well, reasonably nice stack going everywhere. So what I'll do, I'll probably continue cutting all of those trees ahead of us that are going to have at least 1 6 meter length in. So not going to be the best stacking because one thing I really dislike about the in-game tree harvesters is like that, where it rotates into the harvester and you can't rotate the head then to try and swing it back. It's like you've got no control over it. So it does get a little bit annoying. And you end up with a messy pile. Then we get 1 more 6 out of that. Nope, should have kept that one separate. I'll say that's where it gets difficult. It's so difficult to keep out the piles. But anyway, I'm going to continue cutting and getting this, as much of this done as we can. Try and take advantage of this great demand while it lasts. Okay, so that's both containers fully loaded. We've got 43,400 litres of wood, which I think is about 600 litres left than one 12 metre container. I'm pretty sure the 12 metre containers are 44,000 litres of logs. So only slightly less than we would have done, but we've got far less wastage. There's only a small stack of offcuts on the very ends of the trees. So let's go and get this sold and see how much we make for this load. So we've just come up to the container warehouse. Interested to see quite how much we get compared to last time. I think we got around about 45,000 I think for one container at the 6 meters. So we'll see if we get a little bit more. So 52 and 57, there's a slight difference. There's almost 5,000 difference between the two containers. However, that is dependent on how big the logs were and which type of trees were in there. So we're up to 172,348. So one more double load of those containers and we'll have enough to get the sawmill. So I'm going to head back. I'm going to get another load of trees cut down and 2 more containers fully loaded up. And then we can get the old sawmill purchased a little bit quicker than I was expecting. I wasn't quite expecting to be able to get it in this episode. I thought it was going to probably be the episode after or the one after that. Oh yeah, we'll make the most of this great demand while it's still there. And then we can get the next production line, get that up and going. Okay, so we've got another 43,400 litres of logs in 2 more containers. So we'll get these sold and that should hopefully give us enough money to buy the old sawmill. If we get a similar amount as the first 2, which was around about 107,000 I think it was. Can't remember how much it was. It's just over 100,000 anyway. So let's see how much we get for these 2. So 49 and 53, so not quite as much as the first 2 containers. It does seem to vary a little bit depending on what type of trees you put in there and how big the actual logs are that you put in as well. So maybe if you was just to separate all the logs and put in like the biggest, heaviest 6 meter logs and fill the trailer up with those to the capacity, you may get a bit more money, because it does seem to vary quite a bit from container to container. So even though there's 43,000 litres in there, it does seem to vary a little bit. So it'll be an interesting one to do a test on and just try one certain type of tree, filling the container up and seeing how much you get for that compared to a mix. Because there was a good mix of pine. Was it the standard pine, Penderosa pine, and I can't remember the name of the other one. So 250,000. So we'll buy that. So sawmill has been purchased. We are now the proud owners of this very nice building. It is a very nicely detailed building, I should say. This one is obviously one of the big main productions that is required. The next one being the furnace, because a lot of the wood productions require the long planks from here. So we can now produce those, and once we've got the iron furnace as well, we can start producing metal. We can then get the barrel factory and also the furniture factory. I don't know if I believe barrels are required for the roller coaster in a future stage, but I'm not sure about any of the furniture. So next job, we just need to get some logs up here so we can actually start production. Otherwise we've got this nice fancy building that's just going to sit there. Alright, so we've got these 9 meter logs here. There's a few offcuts there which I may just take to the wood turner, those ones. We've also got a few stacks of dead wood trees, which I'm still not 100% sure what we do with those. I may just delete them. So we'll take the 6 meters up first, as they're already loaded up. That way then we can actually start production. And then we'll get the 9 meters loaded up. I think I may need to move the plough out of the way. Yep. Just push that back. And now's probably a good time to load those 9s up, because it does mean we're probably going to have to drive on the field a little bit. But better to get those moved now before we do get a crop growing, because we don't want to be driving all over the crop. Okay, so we're just up at the sawmill again. And we'll drop these loads of logs off. I've just realised quite how quick or how often the train actually comes round on this map. Because I've just gone past it again. It does seem to come quite often. And I did notice one of the barriers is, I don't know who designed the layout. The barriers on one of the crossings is not very well executed, as the barrier only covers if you're turning right. So if you're coming from the other direction and turn left, there is no barrier to stop you, just driving straight across, which is quite funny. I'm not sure who designed it, but it doesn't quite work very well. So we'll get all these off. Because we now own it, these automatically take from the pond. It's only if you don't own the sawmill you have to go to the trigger once you've put them in the water. So it'll just automatically take the logs one by one, which is a little bit slow. Right, looks like last one to go off the trailer. Hopefully it'll take that one first. Yeah, there we go. I've got a few left in the pond there, and that'll just feed in automatically. So we need you to go back and get the 9 meters. I'll just check that is all up and running now. See how much food we've got from that. So we've got 22,496 litres and everything switched on, so production is underway. Staircase railings, have almost got another pallet of those. So yeah, we'll head back and we'll get the 9 metre logs and we'll get those up here. And then I think that'll do us for today. Okay, so last load of logs to deliver to the old sawmill for today. There are still a few offcuts knocking around that are struggling to fit on, so I thought I'd leave those and I'll bring those up another time, maybe when we've got a bit more. So we'll get these ones delivered, and that should give us enough wood now in the old sawmill to last it a couple of months, or at least until next month. I'm not sure exactly how much this requires each month, but we'll set those off so they can be taken into the sawmill. So we'll wrap things up here. So we've got the old sawmill now, and that is now ours and up and running and producing. Don't quite think we've got anything just yet, but we're not far off probably getting our first pallet. So when we come back next time, we should have a few pallets under here of the various different products. So what I want to do now we own this, the plan for next time is probably to get an area of land that's close by. So possibly one of these two, so we can get loads of logs in here without travelling too much. So if we just take a look at what land is around here. So we've got 17, which is just over opposite where we're facing. That's 215,200. That looks fairly decent area. There's also 6 as well, which is close by. That one's a lot cheaper, 142,528. Not quite as big. 7 a little bit further away. That one's 124. It doesn't look like there's a lot of trees on that one though. So possibly 6 I think will be the cheap one to go for. Or 11 will be even cheaper. I don't know if that's getting a little bit too far away from the mill pond. And then 5, that's 165. And that one's not too bad as well. But I think 6, if we can get the money to buy farmland 6 next time, and then we can start getting some trees cut down here. And we've got a short distance to get to the actual logging pond. And we can drop those off, and then we can try and get the old sawmill's capacity full. So we'll try and get enough so we can fill that to 110,000 litres. And then we can leave that just working away, and then every so many months we'll just have to come back up to 6 and cut a few more trees down. And what I want to try and do as well is, as we cut trees down We'll also look to see if we can actually get a planter. I know there is the new planter for the Volvo with the fast coupler, which is quite expensive. I don't know if we can actually buy pallets to fit the standard base game planter. So that's the standard tree saplings from the base game. I don't think we can do the new trees on this one. I think they are just the standard base game ones yet. So if we want to do any of the new species of trees, we will need to get the more expensive tree pallet, which is a little bit of a shame. So yeah, $7,000. I think these may vary in price as well. Yeah, an extra 5,000 for the Penderosa pine and lodgepole pine as well. So that's at 12,000. It looks like we can do all the tree types for that one, but we can't do those new ones with the previous planter. So we could just do standard spruce trees and get the tractor mounted tree planter, which will be a cheaper option for now. And then once we've got a little bit more money, we can look to invest in the Volvo with the fast coupler attachment and the tree harvester and give that one a go as well. Just try and get this log that's stuck on the log poles. We'll get that one in. Yeah, so that's the kind of plan what I want to do. So it'll be trying to get enough money to buy 6, and then what I'm considering is we'll get the yarder. We can set the yarder up over here and then just yard the trees over and then drop them straight into the pond. Well, that's the kind of plan anyway. How well it'll work, I don't know. We did a similar thing on the live stream where we set the yarder up at the southern sawmill right on the sell point, and then we just yarded them from the main start farm over the road and pond and dropped them straight into the sell point. So we'll have a look and see how well we can get that to work. And I say then every now and then we'll just have to come down to 6, cut a few more trees down, drop them into the pond to top it back up. And then if we can get trees planted so they can start regrowing, and then we should get a nice supply from that land. So yeah, we'll leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do consider subscribing. We've got more Farming Simulator 22 content coming. With this series, the Timelapse series, currently on Mazovia, and then I'll also be finishing off the Western Wilds soon as well. And we're also doing the live stream once a week. So yeah, a big thank you to everyone that's watched again, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.